How to rebuild after divorce. Divorce does not end your story. It ends a chapter, the next chapter, written entirely by you, on your terms from your own foundation, is the most important one you will ever write. Nobody plans to get divorced. Nobody stands at the altar thinking, this will end. And yet here you are, rebuilding a life you did not plan to rebuild, starting over in ways you never imagined, carrying grief and freedom simultaneously, because divorce is both at once. And nobody tells you how to navigate both at the same time. Divorce is one of the most searched topics in the world, because millions of people are standing in the rubble of a life they built with someone and trying to figure out what to build next, alone, often exhausted, often carrying children, financial stress, and a grief that the world does not always take seriously because, after all, you chose this. Counterintuitive truth: divorce is not the end of your story. It is the end of a chapter, written with someone who could not go the full distance with you. The next chapter, written entirely by you, on your own terms, from your own foundation, is still available. It has not been canceled. It has been redirected. This video is not about whether divorce was right or wrong. That conversation belongs to you and God. This video is about what comes next. How you rebuild when the foundation you built your life on has been removed. How the Stoics, who understood loss and starting over better than almost any philosophy in history, would approach exactly where you are right now. Before we talk about rebuilding, let's name what divorce actually demands, because most people try to rebuild before they have honestly faced what the demolition cost them. What divorce actually demands: name it to move through it. It demands a complete identity rebuild. You were a spouse. That identity is gone. The we becomes I. The R becomes mine. The decisions that were shared become solitary. The future that was planned together becomes uncharted. Rebuilding after divorce is not just practical, it is existential. Who are you when you are no longer who you were in that relationship? That question deserves honest time and honest attention. It demands practical strength when you have none. The finances to untangle, the home to leave or keep, the children to co-parent, the legal process to navigate. All of this arrives simultaneously with the grief, while you are least equipped to handle any of it. The practical demands of divorce arrive at the worst possible time and require the most from a person who currently has the least to give. It demands that you grieve something that is still alive. The grief of divorce is complicated because the person you are grieving is still alive, still present in some cases through children, through shared friends, through social media. You cannot mourn cleanly because the source of the loss has not disappeared. This ambiguous grief, grieving someone who still exists, is one of the hardest and least acknowledged experiences in human life. It also demands that you discover who you actually are. Counterintuitive truth: divorce, as devastating as it is, creates the conditions for the most profound self-discovery of your life. Who are you without that relationship defining you? What do you actually want when you are not negotiating with someone else's preferences? What does your life look like when it is entirely yours? These questions are painful, and they are also the most important questions you will ever answer. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Seneca understood starting over. His exile, being stripped of everything he had built, was in many ways the Stoic equivalent of divorce. Everything he had constructed his identity around was removed, and what he discovered in that removal was something he could not have found any other way. The version of himself that existed independent of all external definitions. The self that remained when everything else was taken. That self, which he found in exile, became the foundation of his greatest work. Your divorce is removing what was external. What remains is the foundation you build from. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Marcus Aurelius wrote about loss and rebuilding with remarkable practicality. He did not romanticize it. He did not pretend it was easy. He said, confine yourself to the present, not the marriage that is over, not the future that was planned and no longer exists. This moment, this decision, this day, the discipline of returning, daily, deliberately, to what is actually here rather than what was or what might have been, is the Stoic foundation of every genuine rebuilding. Confine yourself to the present. Faith says this about divorce. God is not finished with you, not with your story, not with your capacity for love, not with the purpose He placed inside you before that marriage began, and that the marriage ending has not removed. Ruth was a widow starting over in a foreign land, and she became part of the lineage of Jesus. Esther was an orphan, rebuilding in impossible circumstances, and she saved a nation. God has a long history of doing His greatest work through people who are starting over from nothing. You are not the exception. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. 3 keys, not a timeline, not a program. Principles, the kind that hold when everything else has been removed. 1. Grieve fully, then choose forward. Do not rush the grief. The marriage deserves to be mourned honestly, regardless of how it ended, regardless of who made which choices, regardless of whether the divorce was your decision or not. Something real ended. Real endings deserve real grief. The person who skips the grief to appear strong pays for it later, in patterns, in relationships, in the numbness that arrives when feeling has been suppressed too long. But grief is not a permanent address. It is a necessary passage. The Stoics were not against feeling. They were against being permanently controlled by feeling. Feel the loss fully. And then, when you are ready, not when the world tells you to be, choose forward. Not back, not sideways, forward. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. 2. Rebuild your identity before you rebuild your life. The most common mistake after divorce is rushing to rebuild the external, new relationship, new home, new social circle, before rebuilding the internal. The internal foundation is the only thing that will hold everything else. Who are you now? What do you actually value when you are not in a relationship? What kind of person do you want to be in the next chapter? Not as a spouse, not as an ex, just as yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote privately, every single day to maintain clarity about who he was and what he valued, not who Rome needed him to be, who he actually was. That daily practice of self-clarification is what kept him grounded through every external loss. Build your inner citadel first. Everything else gets built on top of it. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Build something that is entirely yours. The most powerful thing that comes from starting over after divorce is the opportunity, however painfully. It arrived to build a life that is genuinely and completely yours, not negotiated, not compromised, not shaped around someone else's preferences and fears and limitations. Yours. What do you want to build? What have you always wanted that got set aside? What does your life look like when you design it entirely from your own values? Seneca wrote in exile, for nobody, with no guarantee of return, and produced his greatest work. He did not wait for better circumstances. He built with what was available right now. That is available to you right now. The life that is entirely yours has not been canceled by the divorce. It has been cleared of space. Fill it deliberately. Fill it with what is actually you. Let all your efforts be directed to something. Let it keep that end in view. Nobody plans to get divorced, and nobody plans for what comes after to be better than what came before. But it can be, not despite the divorce, because of what the divorce stripped away. The comfortable, the familiar, the known, and what it left in its place. The raw material of a life that is entirely yours to build. Seneca built his greatest philosophy in exile. Marcus governed his greatest years through his hardest losses. Ruth rebuilt in a foreign land and became part of the greatest story ever told. None of them planned the disruption. All of them used it. You did not plan this, but you are here, and you are still standing. And the life that is still yours, the one that has not been written yet, the one that belongs entirely to you, is still waiting to be built. Grieve honestly, build deliberately, trust completely. The best chapter has not been written yet. Start writing it. If this video found you in the middle of rebuilding, share it with someone who needs it today. Subscribe for 1 video a week. Drop a comment. What has starting over taught you? I read everyone. See you next week.